This conference will now be recorded.
So before we get started, can I have a quick intro of a couple of people? Who are they? Just to get interactive with the class. Anyone?
Yeah, hi.
Vijaya. So yeah, hi Rahul.
Yeah, hi. This is Rahul. I had 7 years of experience in functional testing and API
Okay.
testing also with Postman. And I was looking for an automation project and just
Mm-hmm.
wanted to learn Selenium with the Java framework. Currently, right now, I'm in a market, and the market is asking about the automation.
Okay.
Like,
Cool.
I joined this session to learn automation.
Sure. Thank you, Rahul. Thank you so much. How about others? Pings. I mean, if your name is
Hi.
wrong, yeah. Hi Vijay.
Hi, is that Rahul?
Yeah, yeah.
Hi, Rahul. My name is Vijaya, and I'm working for Citigroup as testing global lead. I've just joined this session because I want to expand my and brush up my automation skills. I've got a very little experience in the past with the Selenium and Java, but currently because I just wanted to expand my team
Mm-hmm.
for more automation and build automation from the scratch. I would like to first upskill myself and then brush up my team and then start building the automation into the existing testing model.
Great. Great to know, Vijay. You're in the right place, actually. So
Thank you.
thank you. Anyone else, guys? Steven, Rohit, Pavi, Harman, ask Pings. I mean, if your names are wrong, just change your name, please. Venkat, anyone would like to have a quick intro about themselves? Last two more, then I'll directly jump into the session.
Hi.
Yeah, hi Rahul,
Uh,
Rohit this side.
Yeah, this
yeah,
is Ifine.
yeah, one
Uh,
after the other, please. Yeah, Rohit.
okay, I said I'm Ifine. Yeah, I'm new to the field. A friend introduced me to this institute, and I say, let me
No.
give it a try. Although I've gone classes on manual testing already, get
Mm-hmm.
my certification exam done, so I want to expand to automation. So when a friend introduced me to this class, I said it's good I join. That's why I joined.
Mm.
Yeah,
Okay, great to hear. If let me help you. I mean, can you tell your name once again? I'm confused how to
Ifine,
pronounce.
Ifine.
Ifan. Okay, thank you,
Yeah,
Ifan. Thank you so much. Anyone
yeah.
else? Last, Rohit. Sorry, Rohit, the other.
Yes, Rahul. So same like you told, I'm also working as a senior software test engineer and want to upskill in the automation part, especially in the Selenium with Java. So this is the
Great,
one of the reason to join this
great
course.
to know. Great to know, Rohit. Last one. Anyone? Lawrence, Stephen, Herman. Anyone else? Yeah, Ravindra, you can. I'm just asking you to give a quick intro. Prerna, anyone? Anyone else, guys? Last one. Then I'll jump into the direct discussion point.
Hi Rahul. My name is Saurabh. So I have around 10 years experience in automation and manual testing. So I learned Selenium in the past by myself, but yeah, I wanted to join this course to brush up my Selenium skills because of late I'm not getting enough time to practice. So hopefully, yeah, with this course,
Hmm.
I'll be able to, brush up my skills and able to implement whatever I learn here in my project.
Sure, sure, definitely, you're in the right place. So I'm sharing my screen. Is my screen visible, guys?
Yes, Rahul.
Yeah. So this is the basic and very plain roadmap for automation testing that we have planned. It's a very plain roadmap, very brief one. So assuming that the first step, that is manual testing. So most of you are manual testers. So the first step towards becoming a true test engineer is done. That means manual testing, most of you people know. So the first step is completed. The second step is we need to know some core Java basics. Third is strings and collections. Fourth is lambdas and streams. Fifth is Selenium concepts, TestNG, Cucumber, Excel reporting, multiple framework designings, get an SQL concept, and along with this, we'll be covering API testing in detail also. Okay, we'll also be covering API testing in detail also. Okay, this is a basic roadmap that we are trying to cover during this course. Clear? Clear everyone with the roadmap? Basic roadmap?
Yes, Rahul.
Yeah.
Yes, Rahul.
So we'll be seeing what are the Java topics we are covering for our course. So all of you know what is Java here. So Java is a high-level object-oriented programming language that enables developers to create robust platform-independent applications. So you know this high-level object-oriented language that helps us create a lot of mobile and web applications to enterprise software and games. So can anyone tell me why Java is very much important with Selenium? Can anyone tell me why Java is leading the race when it comes to Selenium? Can anyone tell me, guys?
Because platform independent.
Okay, okay. Next. Next, I'm just trying to understand your views. There's nothing wrong or right here. I'm just trying to get your views only. Yep. It's okay, guys. The floor is open to discuss. You can talk. Guys, I expect a two-way interaction class. It's not like one, I will be speaking and you'll be listening. It's a two-way interaction class. You can ask questions. I'll be able to answer you. You also actively participate in the class. Then only I can understand what you're expecting from this course. So why we use Java for automation testing? Because it's a popular due to its platform independence, vast community support, and extensive libraries such as Selenium, TestNG, JUnit make it ideal for testing web, mobile, and desktop applications. Got it? Amongst all the languages that support Selenium, Java is the most dominantly used because of the vast community support and platform independence and ease of adding external libraries to your project. Compared to other programming language, adding a library to a Java project is much easier, and we can easily import the libraries also compared to other programming languages. Okay.
So, quick question, Rahul. Why is .NET not a suitable candidate?
See, even if it's like .NET, everything you should work with Microsoft plugins only, or in what do you the package you call NG. Can you tell the package name in .NET? NG-NX plugin, right? Basically,
Oh,
we have to NGNX, right? The tool, the package folder name NGINX something is there. I don't remember it,
mhm.
but every tool, whichever you want to download in the .cs project, it should be always from that Windows Explorer or something like that. But
Okay.
whereas in Java, you can use Maven, you can use Gradle, you can use multiple opportunities. You can build a framework using Spring Boot also, automation framework. And the addition of libraries is very easy. The Maven dependency, anyone can in the global can create it. It's not like only one website will have all the libraries. Anyone in the world can create their own Maven repositories and they can keep on sharing it. The ease of
Okay.
sharing libraries is very brilliant here. And when it comes to the CI/CD model also, when you're working with .NET, it is very much comfortable with Azure. But when it comes to Jenkins, it has some trouble. Whereas with Java, you can integrate with Jenkins, you can integrate with CI/CD, you can integrate with EC2, Docker, whatever you want. Okay.
Okay. Got that. Thanks.
Even if you're using Docker, also you need to have a Azure CI/CD pipeline. I mean, in that Docker, you need to have a CI/CD pipeline within it, Azure, if you want to
Mm-hmm.
work with.
Okay.
So what are the first fundamentals we are covering? The different OOPS concepts. Inheritance, polymorphism, abstraction, encapsulation. These are the basic OOPS concepts that we need to know. This just like sounds basic, but it is a must to know because the whole programming language of Java relies on these four concepts: inheritance, abstraction, polymorphism, and all. So what is Java Ops? It enables developers to create reusable, modular, maintainable code by organizing data and behavior into objects, promoting code readability, scalability, and flexibility. So it promotes reusability of the code, promotes code readability, flexibility, scalability. All these concepts makes Java a better programming language. So what are the fundamentals first we are covering here? Basic print statements, the variables concept, that is statically and dynamically typed variables. See why I told the word statically and dynamically typed, because Java is a statically typed programming language. Sorry. Java is a statically typed programming language. What do you mean by statically typed programming language? I'll be explaining you in an example once we deal with the main sessions. Just remember this thing. Whereas Python, JavaScript, Ruby are dynamically typed programming languages. I'll explain you the difference once we deal with the programming concept. Java, TypeScript, C hash, these are all statically typed programming languages. Okay. So what are the different string concepts? What is a string builder, string buffer, the conditional statements, the looping concepts, the switch cases? We'll be discussing switch case in multiple ways. Generally, you get to know only the one version of switch case, but we'll be seeing multiple versions of switch case here, and you'll be seeing all the latest libraries that Java has given in JDK 21. We'll be seeing all the latest functions of JDK 21 also here, because JDK 11 support is till 2026. So from there on, you have to use JDK 17 and JDK 21 as your authorized JDKs. Okay, till 2026 only JDK 11 is being supported, and in this month in September 2023, JDK 1.8 has been decommissioned for Selenium. Is this clear, everyone? We'll be discussing all the latest new functionalities of JDK 21 and 22 here. And luckily in the month of September, we are getting JDK 23. If possible, if time permits, we'll also see what are the new functionalities of JDK 23 and we'll also try to cover it. Okay. So switch case, pre and post increment operations, constructors. These are the basic concepts that we'll be covering. So we'll be seeing what is arrays. What are the basics of arrays? What is a 2D array, 3D array, special methods, the split function? In arrays also we can use streams. So this is the most important and fundamental topic that most of the interviewers are asking. Basically gone are the days where they'll ask you to write a simple program, like write a program to find an element, write a program to write a selection sort, bubble sort. Those days are gone. Now the whole trend of interviews is towards streams. Even the management is expecting us to write most of the codes in streams, lambdas, advanced functions is something they're expecting. Gone are the days where we write a basic for loop. Maximum of the time try to use streams and all the advanced functions. We'll be covering all those advanced functions with respect to arrays. Collections, this is like the bread and butter for whole automation testing, because without collections we cannot do automation testing. So in the collections, what we are covering: first, list concepts, linker list, array list, stack, vector. Then we'll be also be covering set, hash set, tree set, sorted set. Then we'll be covering map, hash map, linker hash map, tree map. So I'll be spending a considerable amount of time when it comes to collections, because this is one of the most important concepts. And if you are looking for a job change, collections is a must and should. These collections, if you know these many collections, is not only suitable for applying for automation job, even you can try for SDET roles also, because if you know these many collections and if you apply for a SDET role also, definitely it will be helpful for you. Then we'll be covering extensively on streams and lambdas. Why? Because they enable concise, efficient, and parallel processing of data with reduced code. So we are covering these many operations with respect to streams, because in the current trend, what we have seen is gone are the days where we write the basic code. With the help of streams and all this concept, we can reduce multiple lines of code and it eases our work more. That is why I've created a separate topic on streams and lambdas, which I'll be covering in detail during our course. So we'll be covering inheritance also, inheritance and interfaces, simple inheritance, multi-level inheritance, hierarchical inheritance. We'll be also discussing a diamond problem that Java has. Then we'll be discussing simple interfaces, functional interfaces, what is what, and all the stuff. Then we'll be discussing all the file operations. How do we read the data from the file, write the data to the file, different file functions, copying the file from one location to another, modifying an existing file. So we'll be discussing more on the files also, because you need to have a basic knowledge of how do we read different kinds of files, different classes of writing and reading the data. We'll be discussing all those things in detail. Then we'll be covering also the Lombok expressions. The Lombok expressions is one of the most powerful libraries in Java that we all need to know, because it will reduce a lot number of lines of code. That means it reduces the boilerplate coding. Boilerplate coding means what? You'll be writing 100 lines of code for some particular setters and getters. So with the help of Lombok, we can easily do a serialization and deserialization of data, and we can reduce a lot number of lines of code. If you are confused what is serialization and deserialization, just wait till the topic comes. I'll be discussing more about detail what is serialization and deserialization and why it is important for our programming and framework building. Is this clear, everyone? So far with the Java concepts?
Yes, Rahul.
Any doubts? Anyone? With Lawrence, Steven, Harman, Sham, Prerna, Ravindra Jaya. If you are clear?
Yeah.
So we'll be seeing what are the topics we are covering in Selenium also. Just give me a moment for the PPT to be loaded. Hope everyone is able to see this PPT, guys.
Yes.
Yes,
So
Rahul.
what is a quick intro about basic concepts of Selenium? So we'll be seeing what is Maven, what are the dependencies, how do we add libraries to Maven project, what are the advantages of Maven. We'll be discussing about Maven lifecycle in detail there. Then we'll be seeing what is the concept of properties, Maven profiling, how do we trigger test cases through Maven. We'll be seeing all those concepts about Maven in detail there. Then we'll be discussing the Selenium architecture. See, understanding Selenium architecture is very, very much important when you're trying to do, because the architecture of Selenium is quite different from 3 and 4. So you need to understand the exact differences between the architecture and try knowing what is what. Because once you understand the architecture, you will clearly understand how the Selenium is behaving. So this is a Selenium 3 architecture we'll be discussing later. Then I'll be discussing Selenium 4 architecture. There are major differences. It is not like very small differences. There are major differences between Selenium 3 and 4, which I'll be discussing in detail. Then, how I'll be launching the Chrome URL via Chrome, Firefox, Edge, and Safari. So there are 4 different ways to launch application in Chrome. There are 4 different ways to launch application in Firefox. There are 4 different ways to launch application in Edge and Safari. For every browser, I can launch the application in 4 different ways, guys. Okay, we'll be discussing all those points. So what is the roadmap to understand how do you switch between windows and tabs? First, you need to know how do you create a new tab, how do you create a new window, how do we launch multiple windows and tabs, and how do we switch between tabs and windows. And last but not the least, you need to understand how do you launch tabs via JavaScript. Okay, because creating a new tab, creating a new window, and switching is one of the easiest things you can do in Java. When you go to Python, it is difficult. When you go to JavaScript, Ruby, or .NET, switching between the windows is not that of a easy task like Java. Java is very easy to write this kind of code, and this is one of the most fundamental and important codes. Clear, everyone?
Yes.
Yeah, Rahul.
Yes, Rahul.
Then we'll be seeing what are the different locators. If you see something that is highlighted in red color, that means that is of highest priority for us. We have different locators like ID name, class name, link text, partial link text, tag name. XPath and CSS selectors are your utmost priority in locators. If you are not knowing XPath and CSS selectors, then we are landing into a big trouble. In this course, we are covering XPath version 1 and version 2 functions also in detail, and we'll be discussing a lot of CSS selectors in detail also. How do you tackle, how do you do multiple things with CSS selectors? We'll be discussing all the stuff. And what are the advanced locators that I have from Selenium 4? two above, two below, two right of, two left of, two next of. There are multiple functions in Selenium 4 locators. By the time I prepared the PPT, these four functions were there. Now they have given another two more functions, two near and something is there. Two more functions are added to the additional locators of Selenium. So we'll be discussing what are the different browser actions I'll be discussing. How do we perform a click action, send keys via chord, select for dropdown, get text. How do we find multiple elements, get attribute, clear. How do we fetch CSS values, get tag name, get area role. How do we handle web tables and grids. Then also we'll be seeing what are the different ways that we can handle implicit, explicit, fluent and custom weight codes. We'll be seeing all the different weight codes that we want to cover. Then we'll be seeing some actions classes. Actions is a special library in Selenium where it performs additional functions that the Selenium cannot do it, like click, double click, send keys, context click, move to element by offset, click and hold, drag and drop, scroll to element, different key operations. There are a lot more functions we have for actions library here. Then we have some JavaScript functions that we need to know. Scroll to view, generate alerts, refresh page, send keys, click. How do we highlight an element? Because when we capture a screenshot, no, the stakeholders will ask like, can you highlight that element in the screenshot so that I can understand that, okay, you're clicking on this element in this page, you're entering the text into the page. Yeah? Yes or no? Clear so far?
Yes.
And we'll be covering what are the different kinds of screenshots that we can capture: browser screenshot, element screenshot, capture screenshot using a shot, Monte recorder for recording the videos of the execution. Then we can see how do we switch between frames by name, by ID, by element, and all the stuff. We'll be covering all the things in detail. Frames is very much important, guys. When you're working in a more dynamic application like sports website and all, definitely knowledge of frames is very, very much essential. And what are the other topics I'll be covering in additional to this? Chrome options, desired capabilities, killing existing browsers via command line. How do we authenticate the browser via URL, via authentication library? How do we handle sliders and browser related pop-ups? Shadow frames, we'll be covering more about shadow frames. What are the efficient methods of uploading and downloading the files? We'll be covering all these concepts in Selenium. And additional to this, I'll be covering a Selenium BD product by BD concepts. BD, BIDI. Okay, we will also be covering Selenium BD concepts. BD stands for bi-directional. I'll explain you what is bi-directional, what is the original behavior of Selenium in the programming concepts. So this is an advanced topic which we'll be covering also. Clear? Is this clear, everyone? The Selenium points? Any doubts you can ask
So,
me. No.
yeah, Rahul, quick
Yeah.
question. Is it still possible for us to use the Selenium and Java to automate ETL testing?
ETL testing is separate and this is separated. ETL testing more relies on the database. So when it comes to ETL testing, I have automated one scenario, not exactly using Selenium with Java. Like you have this data migration testing, right? ETL is used for most
Uh-huh.
of the time. So we had given a data migration testing, like the schema has been moved from this place to that place. They were asking us to compare the schemas of each and every table. So what we did,
Okay.
we used the JDBC connections to compare the metadata of each and every table.
Okay. Okay.
We were asked to compare the records. Like ETL is what exactly data transformation is happening, right? Because in SQL we will have the values as true and false. In MS SQL we'll have the values as 1 and 0. That is what the exactly ETL testing does, right, for you. I mean the basic fundamental.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So we can do
And
using JDBC also. You need to do some
will
coding
you be
there.
covering any of those like
I'm not
slightly
yet done
used?
with my course plan. I'm not yet done with my course plan. Once everything is
Okay.
done, you will get to know clearly. I'm just asking
Okay.
with respect to Selenium, you have any queries?
Okay, okay,
With
thanks.
respect to Java, Selenium, you have any queries and you feel like anything more topics to be added or anything less, you can just let me know. Okay. Then the next and foremost concept is TestNG and Cucumber. Never, my suggestion is never ever use JUnit for your testing purpose. Why? Because JUnit is more of a developer's testing. It's more used on a unit testing purpose, not on a the our system testing purpose. Just a suggestion I would like to give you. So what are the different concepts in TestNG we are covering? Writing test cases, annotations, dependency between methods, parameterization, and then TestNG attributes, soft and hard assertions, event firing decorators, parallel testing, how do we group test cases. Then we'll also be seeing provide data provider in how many different ways we can perform the data provider. Most of the places you will learn the data provider using Excel, but we'll also be teaching you how do you do data provider using CSV, using JSON, using hard coded data. Yep, we'll be covering the data provider concepts in detail. There are some new concepts in data provider which you will find good. Good new concepts have been given in listed search engine libraries. And then we'll be also be covering some listeners of TestNG, WebDriver, Event Listener, iTest Listener, iSuite Listener. We'll be covering most of this listeners to understand how we can play around with the TestNG libraries. Okay. Then we'll be also be covering Cucumber in detail, creating a new feature file, scenario outline, data tables, runner files, preparing the scenario name based on the tags, parallel testing, how do we write examples, Pico containers, Cucumber annotations, hook class, background, step definition. So Cucumber can be used with JUnit also. I'll just give a sample demo of how to use Cucumber with JUnit and all. But my preference is always with Cucumber and TestNG. This is my preference. But Cucumber with JUnit, I'm covering just the fundamentals part so that people in some of the companies they say like we are using Cucumber with JUnit. For those people, I mean for them, I'm trying to cover the fundamentals of Cucumber with JUnit. Whereas when you use Cucumber with TestNG, I'll be covering more additional details also. How do we generate fail screenshots? Integration of test and extend reports with runner file, different concepts for TestNG and Cucumber. So this API testing just uh, uh, ignore. I mean, as of now, just park it aside. I will show come to this point again because I'll be showing you more additional topics about API testing. In Excel, what are the points we are covering? How we add PY libraries, adding data to the file, updating data to the file, reading data from the file, using Excel operations, cell styles, and also this for this batch we have an additional topic, right? Where suppose this is a very common scenario. Now I have a data in Excel. I have fetched the result set. Directly my data result set should be moved to the Excel file. So how can we do that? Will we also covering this additional point here? There are some external libraries which helps you cover this whole thing like converting your database query result set into an Excel. Okay. Then we'll be covering what is properties file, how do we perform different operations for the properties file, how do we maintain different environments, different files for different environments, how do we create a master slave mechanism, how do we see the usage of properties file in real time. We'll be covering extend reports in detail as well as allure reports. Okay. Then we'll be seeing what are the frameworks that we are covering for this batch. Data driven, keyword driven, hybrid driven. Also, we are covering linear mode, linear framework and modular framework. We'll be going through some basic analysis of linear and modular. They are outdated framework design approaches, but I'll still give a demo of what is a linear and modular. Okay. So these are some types of framework designs I'm planning to cover for this batch. Is this clear, guys? TestNG and Cucumber.
Yes, Rahul. I have a quick question. TestNG is a framework or
See, TestNG is see framework is this. When I say framework, your framework will fall under data-driven, keyword-driven, hybrid framework. This TestNG and Cucumber are your basically like your plugins. They help you
okay?
facilitate your testing process. TestNG framework, people say the problem is people say, but actually the TestNG is not a framework. It's a plugin. It's a library The framework that you're building on TestNG is called as a data-driven keyword hybrid BDD. Okay,
And
got it?
Cucumber is a data driven or BDD?
Cucumber is a behavior-driven
Okay.
BDD,
Okay. What's the
behavior-driven.
different? What's the difference between keyword driven and hybrid? Means like what
I
we
will
test.
show you. I will show you.
Oh.
It's
Okay.
very difficult
Got
to
it.
say
Got it.
in words. Actually, the point is,
Okay. Got it.
got it. If I show a
Yeah.
design only, you'll understand more clearly. That's the thing.
Okay. Thank you.
So, if you want keyword driven, the best example is if I say that you have to click, you will click on it. If I say you have to press enter text, you will enter text. If I say you have to select the drop down, you will select the drop down. It's more of a robotic kind of thing. Keyword driven. Data driven is for every test case we have multiple sets of test data, right? So data driven means what? Same test case will be run with different sets of test data. That is the whole agenda of our testing, right? Rahul?
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Got it.
I'm just
But
giving you a hybrid is mix of all.
mix of data and the keyword driven.
Mix of all, even BDD
Okay.
approach,
Okay.
everything.
Okay. Okay.
Yes,
Got it.
good
Thank you.
you have told me. Let me modify this. Let me modify this slide so that I'll keep it updated. Just a moment, guys. Let me modify this slide. Sorry for the inconvenience. Till then, any doubts, anything, guys? So far, the points covered.
Hey Rahul, general
Uh,
question.
So,
How long the
so I've
course
got
will be?
How long the?
How long this course? That means for weekends. How many
Yes.
weekends?
Basically, I'm planning to cover. Say, I'm telling you the number of hours that we are planning
Okay.
to cover in 40 to 45 hours. So every weekend we are covering two classes, 2 hours. Every weekend, 2 plus 2 is 4 hours.
Okay.
Ideally, 10 weekends because we are covering something on a weekend, right? So definitely the course will be lengthier than the weekdays approach. Yeah.
so just asking you at what time you're going to start this batch?
Yeah. After next Saturday onwards, the batch will be started.
Same time?
So same time, if any changes in timings, team will keep you posted.
Okay. Okay. Will you share the video also for this one?
Yeah, recording will be shared to you.
Okay, good.
Okay. Yeah. I've saved the slide. Thank you so much. Just this was a mess from my end. I forgot to update in the slides. That's not a problem. So when it comes to API testing, my first thing I will be discussing is first Postman. Many of you believe that we know Postman, we were doing, I mean, majority of the people believe that we know Postman and we are just seeing like we are hitting the API. But there's a lot to Postman which I would love to cover. What is Postman? What are the different API calls? What is this LDECG variables? Scripting test cases? How do you do data-driven testing? How do you do Newman reporting and all this stuff? So why Postman? It's a popular API testing tool and development that allows you to easily send, receive, and analyze API requests. With Postman, you can create, test, and document APIs faster. It offers everyone knows this thing because it is being used by 20 million users. Why we are going for Postman? Okay. So what is the first goal of this? Postman is not about hitting the API calls and checking the response. It is more than that. That is one thing I would like to give you clarity. So second goal is what? How do we script test cases in Postman? How do we run the test cases using a data-driven approach? How do we run the Postman API calls in a DevOps tool? We'll be seeing all these things in detail. So what are the different API methods we have? Get, post, put, patch, delete, head options. And there are more to it. There are link, unlink, and there are more multiple advanced options to it. So we'll be seeing different examples for different API calls and importance in the real-time scenario. So what is this LDECG? L is a local variable that is defined and stored locally within the specific request or the location. It is not stored in Postman servers. D is the data variable, a type of variables that allows you to store and reuse the data in your request. That's specifically designed to store the data used in your requests. ECG is E stands for environment variable that is stored and managed at environment level. Collection is variable is defined and stored at collection level. G is a global variable that is defined at the global level. You will see all these things in detail once we cover the Postman topics. If you feel something is new, yes. That is why we are here and we are learning all these things in detail, and we'll be seeing what are the different variables in the live scenario. So they'll be giving a small assignment on the task that we have covered so far so that you'll understand what is what. So we'll be covering some basics of JavaScript, because if you want to write test cases in Postman, what I believe is that we will cover some basics of JavaScript, one or two classes about basics of JavaScript. What is the chai.js assertions? How do we validate status codes and response codes? How do we validate JSON schema? This is the most important thing when we do API testing. How do we pass the values to the next request? How do we set the values to collection, environment, and data variables? We'll be also covering some end-to-end scenarios. Okay. Okay. So we'll be
Yes,
covering
Ram.
some data. We'll be covering some data-driven testing using JSON and CSV files, and we'll observe how the API behaves. We'll also be covering some different authentications like basic, digestive, OAuth 1.0 and OAuth 2.0. And also we'll be seeing how do we run the scripts via CLI model, how do we run the collections via runner mode, collection runner, how do we work with Newman reports. This is the new latest advanced reports. How do we generate reports via Newman? How do we push the collections to the GitHub? At the end of this Postman thing, you'll be in a position to tackle any kind of API requests and challenges through API Postman. We'll be covering most of the things that are required. Okay. Then we'll be also covering REST assured automation along with manual API testing. So what is a REST assured? It's a popular open source Java based automation framework, because Selenium does not have inbuilt libraries to do API testing, same like Playwright. But that is the reason we are going for an external library called REST services. So REST Assured allows testers to write the test cases in a BDD style, BDD approach, making it easy to read and maintain. What are the benefits of REST Assured automation testing? It's simple and intuitive API allows testers to write test cases quickly. Support for various HTTP methods and data formats can be easily integrated with CI/CD pipelines, allowing for automated testing to and deployment of REST services. Why do we need API automation testing? This is a generic question that I always get to know. Why do we need API automation testing? Because not everything can be done in Postman tool. Because when you have a less than 30 API test cases, that is when Postman tool is more than sufficient for you. But when you use API automation testing, when you have more than 100 API automation testing cases, and you have to validate whether the API request is present in the DB or in the UI or in the back, I mean, you have to check everything in different locations. That is where we need API automation testing, because in Postman, scripting is not that easy as you think. Whereas when we do API automation testing, scripting is easy. We know what we are doing. The whole framework is in our hands. So Postman is a GUI standalone tool. Not everything can be done. Whatever is there within the tool, we are trying to use the maximum out of it. Whereas when we use API automation testing, we have the complete control over building the framework using BDD approach and non-BDD approach in API automation testing. So what are the concepts we are covering here? BDD approach of writing test scripts, non-BDD approach of writing test scripts, the query param, form param, headers and all, JSON and XML file parsing using different libraries, POJO concepts, and uploading the files using the REST assured. And there are more concepts that we will cover also apart from this. We will be discussing more use cases, more use scenarios, and all the stuff. So we'll be also covering JSON schema validations in detail, because this is one of the most pain areas that any tester will have while doing API testing. Because if the schema is wrong, this could lead a major issue when it sends to UAT and all stuff. So JSON schema validations is very much important. We'll be covering all those points in detail. We'll be covering the same using the Postman tool as well as the REST assured. So we'll be seeing integration of scripts with Jenkins and Docker to run the test cases in scheduled manner, generating all your reports for API testing. So we'll also be seeing SOAP UI, automating the SOAP UI and performing end-to-end scenarios, integration of API automation with TestNG and JUnit. How do we automate OAuth2 related scenarios? Okay. So what is the endpoint that we reach here? We'll be automate complex RESTful web services using REST assured, including authentication, data validation, and all. You'll be able to create reusable test scripts using REST assured, reducing the effort to maintain and update the test cases. The thing with API testing is it is easy and good going, but the thing is if you don't write it properly, it is very complex thing to do it. API testing is way much quicker and way faster than UI testing, but it takes a lot of time to understand. Once you understand it, UI API testing is much one of the best things that you can do. Got it? Got it, everyone? And last but not the least, the topics that we are additional topics we are covering is the Git concepts. Git is much important. We'll be seeing what is Git, the purpose of Git, difference between Git and GitHub, flow charts, different tools that support Git apart from GitHub. What are the different Git commands that we'll be seeing? Because this Git commands is
So
something
I've
that
got
is,
one question.
yeah, Priya.
What is the difference between Git and GitHub? Are they the same?
Git, yeah, there's a difference. There's a difference. Git is your local thing. GitHub is the Git hosting platform.
Repository. Ah,
It's a hosting
okay.
platform. GitHub is a hosting platform which holds all your code repositories. Git is something
Okay.
which is within your project. There are two
Okay.
repositories actually. There is a local repository and remote repository, which I'll be explaining you in a diagram. Diagrammatically, I'll show you what is what. Internally, there will be a local repository, and once you share it to GitHub, that will be a remote repository. I'll show you what is what. Okay. Then we'll be seeing how do we perform different GitHub commands via IntelliJ. Share projects to GitHub via editor, add files, commit changes, push changes, pull changes. How do we work within the branches? If you're not talking, can you repeat a word? Then also we'll be covering some SQL concepts like the different DB installations we'll be trying to cover.
Rahul,
Then
I
we'll
have
be
a quick
seeing,
question.
yeah.
Yeah, like nowadays in the market, they are asking about the Playwright, Cypress, means like Selenium and
I'll tell you, I'll
Cypress
tell
are.
you, I'll tell
Okay,
you all this. After the slides
okay,
are completed, I'll explain
okay,
you
okay,
what are the
okay.
different tools because these are the common FAQs I always get to know. I'll explain.
Okay, thank
So
you.
we'll be seeing the different CRUD operations in database. We'll be seeing what are the different database commands, data definition language, manipulation, control, query. Just I'll be covering the basic part of it, not the in-depth of it. What is necessary for automation, I'm covering it up, guys, because I am also a part-time Java developer and part-time SQL developer. So I am, that is why with confidence I'm dealing with all this, because I also write loops, I also do a lot of conditioning in queries, I also use a lot of case when, I also use a lot of union operations, I also write my queries efficiently. Then also we'll be covering the tools required to work with CI/CD platform and all, building pipelines. So what is CI/CD? Basically, the common question I always get to know from my students. It's a crucial part of the modern software development process, and test automation plays a key role in this process. What is CI? We as developers will frequently integrate the code into a shared repository. So automated tests run on each integration to ensure code quality and catch issues early. This promotes collaborative and quality focused environment. So what is CD? Continuous deployment. That means it automates the release process, ensures that the code changes are deployed to the production automatically if they pass all the test cases. Reduces the time from code commit to deployment, enhancing agility. So CI is continuous code integration where we keep on checking whether the code is working properly or not. CD means what? We are deploying the same code to production or UAT or set, whatever it is. And once all the test cases are passed. This is the different, this is the meaning of CI and CD. So what are the tools required? So we'll be covering Jenkins, Apache Maven, JDK 11, 17 or 21. I will try to cover AWS and Docker if time permits. Yeah. The plan is the agenda for this batches. I want to cover Docker also. Let's see how much I can cover. Okay. So we'll be seeing the goals. First, we will set up a Jenkins tool. We will be setting up the plugins related to the build. How do we configure the build via the Git repo? How do we trigger the pipelines and observe the logs? Okay. There's much more to Jenkins. We will be seeing more the sending emails. How do we link different pipelines and all the stuff we'll be seeing in Jenkins. Then we'll be seeing the JDBC. How do we integrate all? our Java code with the database. So for the newcomers, what is JDBC? It is an API in Java that allows you to connect and interact with databases. It provides methods for querying and updating data in a database using SQL commands. So these are some 5-step process that we follow while we are connecting to the database. There are multiple additional operations like prepare statement and all the stuff, but these are the 5 steps that we need to know as a beginner in automation testing when we are working with database. And if time permits, I'll try to cover Mongo also. I'll try to cover Mongo also if time permits. I'm not guaranteeing for Mongo because Mongo works efficiently with Python, but it also works good with Java. I'll try to cover Mongo and I'll also see how much I can give you at the last. Last but not the least, we will also be covering some design patterns. This is something new we have created for this batch. We'll be covering some design patterns. So what is this design patterns? What is on all the stuff? You'll be seeing you will be seeing later, because when you are going for a, because most of the people have 7 years 10 years of experience. On an average I see 7 to 10 years of experience crowd. So having a knowledge on design patterns is a good to have. Patterns is good to have. So we'll be covering singleton pattern, yeah, builder pattern, factory pattern. We'll be covering most of these things in detail. See, this design patterns is something which we need to know. At least you implement it or not is secondary, but it's always good to know this design patterns because we'll understand how the frameworks are built in detail. We'll understand the science and nuances of building a framework. Okay, and also we will cover we will cover some topics of playwright with Java, like some fundamentals, because these days playwright is playing a very, playwright is sounding very huge in the market. But let me tell you some couple of differences between Selenium and playwright. Why I'm only discussing about playwright, why not Cypress? Cypress is currently losing its stake in the market when the playwright has entered, because Cypress has lot of problems. Cypress does not work with multiple windows, does not switch between frames, does not allow parallel execution. Okay, there's a lot of things. If we upgrade to the pro version only, we will be seeing the we can be utilizing the full features. We can be utilizing the full set of features. Got it? Cypress has a lot of problems and it supports only TypeScript and JavaScript. That is not the thing, right? Why is Playwright is leading current? Playwright is trying to be a competitor to Selenium because it supports multiple programming languages, supports multiple browsers like how Selenium does. Cypress works good in Chrome only. I hope Rahul have answered your question.
Yeah, I got a clear idea. Difference between Selenium and Playwright. Playwright we use JavaScript. You can write with the JavaScript also.
Playwright allows us to write in JavaScript, TypeScript, Python, .NET. These are the programming languages that it supports. Okay, that is why Playwright is creating a competition for Selenium. But trust me, for Playwright is established in 2020 and released the stable build in 2022. So how many years old technically? It is a 2-year-old tool in the company, right? It's a 2-year-old tool. So for the fresh projects with less complexity, some companies are using Playwright. But I will tell you one thing, because I'm also working with Playwright. I will tell you some of my experiences. If you want to switch between tabs and windows now, it is not that easy as Selenium. You cannot work in incognito mode like Selenium with Playwright in the current situation. Okay, it is way advanced than Selenium, but when it comes to the features offered by Selenium, it is way behind of how do we interact with the browser in multiple ways. But one thing I love about Playwright is it has its own library. It has its own library for API testing. Got it? Own reporting tool, own trace viewer, and UI debugging. See, in Selenium, Cypress, and all, we have a normal debugging, whereas in Playwright, we have a UI debugging feature. I'll try to show that UI debugging feature. That means what? Visually, we can analyze what is happening. There's a separate Playwright UI concept where we can debug our test case then and there directly. Okay. Playwright is good in one way, Playwright is bad in another way, because when you're working with a complicated applications, when you want to pull in multiple libraries in picture, I don't know how Playwright will accept things. And last and foremost thing is, who is the owner of Playwright? Playwright is developed by Microsoft. When I say Playwright is developed by Microsoft, they can make this tool paid anytime like MS Office. Got it, everyone? You know the strategy of Microsoft, right? They give the tools
Yes.
for free for a longer time. They make the people get used to this tool so much that they have to pay for now. So it's developed by Microsoft. So need not be surprised then that they make this Playwright tool as a uh, paid tool after 5 years. It is an efficient tool, but compared to Selenium, it's way behind. Still, a lot of features needs to be built. A lot of things needs to be kept into scope. Got it?
Yeah.
See, still Selenium is leading. Even if you see the job opportunities out of 100, 75 are asking for Selenium only. Remaining 25 are fighting for Cypress and Playwright when it comes to web application automation testing. Okay. There are some other UI AI tools like Test Trigger and all. See, when you are using an AI tool for automation testing like the Test Trigger, it's a paid tool. First of all, it's a paid tool if you want to get the full set of a feature. And I don't think companies are that willing to invest on these paid tools. They're always more on the open source tools that will support the testing process, correct?
Yes, sir.
Selenium is a synchronous tool, whereas Playwright is a asynchronous tool. I'll explain these things, synchronous, asynchronous, at the later point of time. I hope I was answered most of your questions. .NET, yeah, C hash, very nice, C hash, sorry. In Playwright documentation, they mention it as .NET, but actually it is C hash. Okay, in Playwright documentation, they mention it as .NET, that is why. Is this clear, everyone? Everyone is clear with the course contents, course topics that what we are covering for this batch specifically?
Yes, Rahul.
Any doubts, anything you have to ask? Any queries, any questions? The floor is open for questions. You can ask anything.
Yeah, Rahul, hi. I joined a bit late, so I just wanted
Yes.
to, be sure about the schedule and the duration, how long it will take.
It will take around 10 weekends. 10 weekends. That is 4 hours per weekend. Yeah.
Okay, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah, only Saturday, Sunday this batches.
Okay.
If there's a week, I mean, there's a weekend batch completely, not a weekday batch. Just I'm
Oh,
reminding people that
yes.
timings would be the same, but if any changes in timings, we'll keep you posted and updated. Okay.
Sure. Yes.
Any doubts with the course contents, course things? We'll also be sharing some couple of programming questions during the course We'll be also discussing some programming questions and all, so that you'll understand how do you implement the same logic in a different way. Yeah. And before that, we have, yeah, Pravendra, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, continue, continue.
Yeah, yeah. So the tools that we are using for our course, I forgot to mention that tool's name. I hope you have already seen the list of tools that we are using in the website, but still I would like to reiterate what are the tools we are using for this course. One is IntelliJ IDEA, Git Bash, Apache Maven, JDK21, then SSMS, MySQL, Postman tool. So you might be asking why we can't use Swagger, why are you using Postman tool? Swagger is a outdated, it's a legacy API testing tool where we can test the APIs. Postman tool offers more than what we can see. Okay. Postman tool, yes, and all, yeah. I guess we are done. Yeah, I guess we are done. We'll be covering all the installations, right from installations and all in the next class onwards. We'll be going through the tools installations and all from the next class onwards, and we'll be directly going into the basics of Java. So please do not miss the next session. And any queries related to the payment and all, you can talk to Kumar Gupta sir. Anything related to the technical part of the course, you can ask here. Anything related to the
Will there be any course material shared for our learning purpose?
like we'll be sharing the git of the codes that we are doing, Vijaya, because ultimately the git is the, because what I do is I generally share my code on the git, and I want all of you to get connected via git and learn how to use the git. That is my agenda in this course. That
Oh,
means the material,
not the code. Sorry if I so not the code. I'm asking the course material, like the
like
theory
our
of the.
courses, everything will be covered in the code only. That means we will mention a
Okay,
comment there, be explaining there with the example. There is no theory separate topic. If there is a theory,
understood.
I'll be sharing that Google Doc with you.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you.
If any theory is being covered, Vijay, I'll share that Google Doc with you after the class is completed. You can have a look at it.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you so much.
And regarding today's recording, you will get it after the class is completed. Team will upload and they will share you the recording. That is not a problem. Anything else? Anyone? Lawrence, Pavi, Sham, Priya, Murli, Arman.
Uh, Being a weekend batch, so time for practice, how will be managing this?
Monday to
I mean,
Friday you have time, right?
okay, okay,
Monday to Friday you have time. Or else Saturday's afternoon, morning. If it's a if it's a night time, Saturday morning, afternoon you have time. You have to invest some time. Every week you need to invest some 4 to 5 hours of learning on Selenium. Then only you'll be getting to know what is what.
Yeah, I have something to say too.
Yes, please.
Yeah, please. During the when the class begin properly, you have to go a bit slower. I know some of us are new in this, and I know some people are already experienced in this. So you have to go a bit slower so that we that are new can. Yeah,
If he and right, correct me if I'm wrong.
yeah. You're right.
Yeah, so this course is not something like I'll be going at a very rapid pace or something. Everything will be covered from the scratch for the people who already know some of the basics.
Yeah,
Yes, they'll be listening it again, but definitely trust me, again revisiting the basics is always a good option because you don't know what are the new enhancements or new updates we got it. So we'll be
yeah.
covering right from what is a class creation, what is a basic project creation. From there I'll be covering. Okay.
Okay,
So that is not a worry for you. You don't worry. Everything will
okay,
be going step by step process. Any doubts you have, you can post it in the group, or you can in the group chat. In the group only, you have my number there. You can message me on my personal window also. I'll be more than happy to help you. That is not a
okay,
problem.
okay. All right. Thank you.
Anything else, guys? Harman, Vijaya, Pavi, Ask, Saurabh, Murli. Any doubts you have? If nothing else, then we can connect in the next weekend onwards. Yeah.
Yes, sure, sure,
Sure.
Rahul.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Thank you.
thanks,
Thank
Rahul.
you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank
Anyone has any doubts, you can stay.
Sorry.
Yes, Saurabh? Okay, guys. Venkat, Ravindra. Hi, Lohita. You joined late. Hi, Lohita. You have joined late and your video cam is turned on. Just keep it off. Okay.
Yes, sir,
Yeah,
I'm
Venkat.
having one doubt, sir.
Yes.
Okay, so what exactly the framework means?
Framework means like a structure, how you organize the code structurally, because there are some reusable libraries, there are some reusable concepts. How do you build it according to the requirement of the project? Because you cannot write the whole code, everything in one place, right? It needs to be structured, it
Okay,
needs to be organized, there needs to be generalized, they need to have some specific functions. So it's
okay,
just like how you keep your house. How do you keep your house in
okay,
the
okay,
hall? This in bedroom, these
okay,
are the things. On the bed, what should be there? What color bed sheet should be there? How the kids'
okay,
room should be there? How you plan for your house? Same thing we are doing for the coding.
okay, okay.
Got it?
Okay, sir, got it. Yes, got it. And what is the role they plays here in Selenium?
What is the role of
Like, what is the
like
role of a framework in a, like in
framework?
an
Is
entire
essential.
Selenium
Framework
or
is in Selenium also. See, Selenium is a browser interactable tool, but we
okay,
have to report the data. We have to log the results to DB, Excel. There's a lot to do, right? It's not only about
okay,
framework. Is not testing is not about testing the application also, right? We have to provide reports. We have to go to the database and fetch the data. We have to get the
okay,
data from Excel. There's a lot of things, right? Testing is not about only you testing the application. We have to report. We have to maintain our test data source. We have to see whether what IPs are impacted and all the stuff, right?
yes, yes,
So a full length testing, what we do manually, we'll be trying to simulate the same thing in automation testing.
okay,
Yes.
okay, sir, got it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So hi Lohita. I hope you have joined late to the class, if I'm audible. You can unmute and talk, Lohita. That's okay.
Yeah, hi.
Hi Lohita. I hope you have joined pretty late to the session.
Yeah, sorry for the delay.
Yeah, no worries. My suggestion is to just go through the recording once again of what are the topics we are covering.
Okay.
Yeah. So hope you are into testing industry.
Yeah, I used to do manual testing. I'm new to
Mm-hmm.
automation.
Okay, sure. So this is the right place for you to learn automation testing because whatever the things we are discussing a lot of latest and new things. Okay,
Okay.
okay. Just go through the
Uh,
recording and yeah, tell me.
yeah, will I get, I mean to ask, is it like from basics I can learn?
Yeah, basic only.
Because I'm actually CSE student, but I am not that much good in Java.
Ah,
So
no
that's why
worries,
I'm,
no worries, no worries. We'll be covering the. See, Java is a very huge library, and I don't expect people to know everything. But the thing is, we'll be covering the Java that is essential for automation testing. Okay.
okay. May I know like if there is, I mean, after completion of course, uh, will you guys prepare like a resume and all?
Yeah, we will go through it.
Will
We
you
will go
guys
through it.
help me guys?
Yeah, I will be helping you with the roles and responsibilities, what you need to put in your resume.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lovita. Okay, cool then. I'll see you on the next Saturday.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye bye.